Packers Hall of Famer Pete TInsley led an extraordinary life. His journey to the NFL and his time after the pros are just as colorful as his time with the green and gold. I traveled to Florence County, Wisconsin to learn more about his legacy. Before his days winning championships with the Green Bay Packers, and even longer before his days living in the UP and northern Wisconsin, Pete TInsley was born in South Carolina in 1913.
He had 7 siblings. His father ran a laundry for a girls' college. His mother was a stay-at-home mom. And you're talking Depression time. So, these children went to school, but under different circumstances than, a lot of people have nowadays. Dad, from an early age, he said that they would play any kind of game they could. Although he played basketball and baseball, football was his thing.
When he graduated from high school, TInsley knew he wanted to continue his football journey, which took him to a neighboring southern state.
Somebody was advising him that, he could go to South Carolina and be a big fish in a little pond, or he could go to Georgia and be a small fish in a, bigger situation. So he decided that he was going to go to Georgia on what he called a Coca-Cola scholarship. Georgia's known for Coca-Cola, and they did sponsor his scholarship. So he went there, and he played 3 seasons there at Georgia.
While TInsley didn't know what the future would hold after his time at Georgia, a letter from Curly Lambeau brought him from the deep south to the far north.
After the 3rd season at Georgia, he received a letter from Curly Lambeau, the Green Bay Packers, with a one-way bus ticket from South Carolina, Spartanburg, to Green Bay to come and try out for the Packers. So he decided that he would cash the ticket in. It was Depression time, and he gave most of the money to his mother because she had children at home. And he hitchhiked from Spartanburg, South Carolina, and he got as far as Manitowoc. And he was sleeping in a park someplace, and a deputy woke him up and said, "You can't." And it was, again, they didn't want transits coming through. And my dad showed him the letter, and he said, "Well, that makes it different." He said, so he took him to the jail. They gave him supper. They washed his clothes. They gave him a place to sleep. And the next morning, they gave him breakfast, and there was a trucker waiting outside to take him to Green Bay.
TInsley quickly grew to love the region and did so while excelling for the Packers as an offensive and defensive guard. His time in the league included, among other accomplishments, playing on the Packers' 1939 and 1944 championship teams, as well as a Pro Bowl selection in 1939.
When he first got to Green Bay, he said that it wasn't hard to settle in. He said it was so easy to be a player in those days. People were just happy that, you would come and entertain them, and he said people would go to that old city stadium, and, it was nothing real fancy. Their locker room, he said they had outside showers at some times.
Outside of just NFL games, TInsley and other players would take part in games with local semi-pro teams that took them even further north.
The agreement was you don't do any publications about it, just word of mouth. We'll come up on Saturday such and such, and but we want gas money in all the beer we can drink and whatever food we want, or you can give us. So they did that, and he did that, I think, like the first 3 or 4 years. They played all over. They played, I'm pretty sure, up in Baraga, in Bark River area. I know he talked about a team in the Norway, Iron Mountain area that they would come up and play.
After his tenure as a Packer, it wouldn't be the end of TInsley's time living in the upper Midwest, nor the end of his involvement in football.
He loved every minute of it. Although he went back to Georgia to finish his degree, and then he ended up a couple of years at South Georgia College as an assistant coach, he always wanted to come back, and he did. He coached at Rock, he coached at Munising, and then down in Green Bay, the Green Bay area, Wrightstown, And then after Wrightstown, then he came up here to Florence, and he taught girls physical education. And then he was an assistant coach under John Brody here for 2 years. And then when John Brody left to go to Ladysmith, my dad took over as the head football coach. And he was always looking for that area that would probably give him that championship team. And he had one here at Florence in 1963. They won the Northern Lakes Conference Championship.
Eventually, Tinsley would settle in the area of Florence, Wisconsin, where he remained an avid outdoorsman and involved community member until his death in 1995.
That was always his intent, was to get back north. He just loved it, and he especially loved the Florence area. This was a dream job for him. He liked the cooler weather, he liked the fishing, and he loved the people. He just had a good relationship with folks. He thought it was God's country.